Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Beauty Transformations, this time with Michelle Strong, the owner and founder of Eyes, Embracing Your Elephant Scripturally. She will be getting her makeup done by me. I'm no professional makeup artist, so don't come from my skills. But hear her share her transformation story while I transform her from already being beautiful to being a little maked up, if you know what I mean. Enjoy.
Okay, so this is concealer.
Yeah.
Okay, listen here, girl. You know I don't put the line because they didn't have no prices on there. By the time I went to the
How
thingy,
much is it?
$68.
For what? Everything?
Both of these. Does foundation go over concealer or concealer does?
Sometimes I do under and over. Sometimes I do under only. Sometimes I do over only. It just depends.
Well, look at you.
Yeah.
And then I went 2 down, 7. And that's it. So I have nothing else in here. So you're just going to be happy. Boy, you like pushing on the face.
It's called beating. Yeah, it's called getting your face beat. So first I'm gonna look at your eyebrows, okay?
Oh, okay. Now you
don't have to look at me, you can look straight ahead.
Oh, goodness.
I'm just
Are we
bringing it up just
recording
a
yet?
bit. Yeah, we've been recording.
Really?
Yeah. Okay, so who are you?
Who am I? Just answer the question instead of.
Why are you so uncomfortable? Let's talk about that first.
Oh my gosh! Who is this normal for someone? Perhaps movie stars. For someone to come into their house and then you came to my house. I was supposed to be coming to yours.
Oh my god!
And because their job is their face. My job isn't my face. My job is my heart. I don't, but I do want my heart to equal my face.
You go somewhere with that.
I sort of like, and no one's ever said, "Oh, I don't want to talk to you because of your face." I think my overwhelming, or whatever you call that, never meet a stranger comes out.
Your heart does shine through your face. Have I ever told you that you shine bright?
I said they've said they've seen Jesus in me.
And how do you think they've seen Jesus in you? What's the first thing they see?
I don't know if that's a physicalness. I really think it's, you know how I smile.
But your face isn't just physical.
Okay, well, there you go. So perhaps this is a getting to know Michelle, and perhaps the beauty that I think is in my heart is evident in my face. I do not know that because I'm not conscious of it. I don't concern myself. I take care of my skin, but I don't concern myself with, does it look like my heart? I just like go with my heart. Like I'm trying to get my heart right and pure and ready for pruning and ready to receive correction, all that type of stuff.
So who are you?
So that's the question. I like the word heart. Like when I think of myself, even my daughter says this when not right before she moved out, but in our last month here, and we're having a little discussion, and she came from the bar where I was standing in the kitchen, and she just hugged me really strongly. She goes, "Mom, I get it. I see you. You only care about my heart." So it was almost like a misunderstanding between a mother and a daughter. And she's like, "Now I get you. The things you say to me isn't because you're trying to control me, or it's like you want me to take care of my heart, and you try to give me questions and things that you say because you care about my heart." And that is true, and I think that is true me, period. But it hasn't always been that way with me, because when I was growing up, like I told you, I was adopted and trying to embrace being adopted. I don't even know if that's the word I want to use. I was two different people with the people I was adopted with, even though they were my relatives. I hid how I was feeling inside, so I didn't really expose my heart to myself because I was so busy hiding it. Maybe at night when I cried, but that was just me experiencing hurt, not me actually trying to go through the hurt, because I would never share anybody. I wouldn't even share it with God. I just cried, and I would cry myself to sleep.
If you were to use a word that describes you, would you say maybe you are transparent?
I've heard people say that often. That's probably the most frequent
Do you agree with that?
Now, yes, because I hid so much in my life. So yes, when I broke free of that, and I don't even say even God truly broke me free in a spiritual sense, but when I just got tired of hiding, and I probably went to the extreme at one time. I used to didn't filter my words because I hid so much. Now I won't say, yeah, I do filter them, but I filter them more in a spiritual sense so that you're not harming someone yet giving people truth. So that's a whole different thing. So transparent, I would agree with that. Where I do, even young people, like students in middle school. Well, sixth graders didn't really call it that. They just said, Ms. Strong, you're so see-through. Because I come in sharing from hurtful places, so they'll be comfortable in sharing their hurtful places with me. So I can help teach them how to navigate through emotions. But you can't come in there speaking to them like a teacher. You have to show that even as a grown-up, you're vulnerable. Because it's Dr. Anita Phillips who describes little T trauma as anything that happens in your life as a child as you are developing. It happens when you're developing, like you're trying to figure out who you are. And instead of you processing it, you just feel it. And so therefore you don't, and if it changes how you look at yourself, other people, or even God, your faith, in a negative way, you experience trauma. How we process when we are developing, because you haven't figured out who you are. So you sometimes may wrongly process something, or just, and then depending on your relationship with those who are older than you, you're not going to ask them necessarily, what did you mean by that? You just ingest it, like you're ingesting everything else around you as you are developing.
Right.
And then you don't realize till you're older, oh, this doesn't work. I gotta find what works for me. Or, yeah. Very good, very good.
Interesting. The name of this series is called Beauty Transformation.
Why is it called that? Beauty, I get, but why transformation?
Well, you go from being barefaced, which a lot of people don't like themselves that way, right? But it also can represent who you are before Christ. And the transformation part is obviously when Jesus comes in and beautifies you. Right, so it's kind of like dual. The bare part. But there's something beautiful about being bare and being seen that way. Something beautiful about being transparent, being honest. And there's something beautiful about being seen as you're being beautified by the Lord. He gets the glory. You know?
Yeah. That is interesting you say. It's beautiful being seen when God beautifies. Like, I know within my family, my biological family, that because we don't live together and growth has occurred in me since I was a child and even a young adult, just the spiritual growth period. I know I want to show them that. But I think God is just telling me, just live. You don't necessarily have to
be intentional.
Talk about, okay, this is where I was, and at night I used to cry, and and this is how I saw myself. And perhaps there will be a setting when that conversation will take place, but to go and create that, I think I was trying to do with my family. And I won't say it wasn't received well, I just don't think that was the timing or the place. Just go ahead and walk in your lightness.
Because everybody's watching. And we always hear this, somebody's always watching, whether you know it or not. But it's kind of like not our concern
Mm-hmm.
who's watching, when are they watching? Because if we knew that, we'd try to show up.
Exactly.
Like
then our image stuff will come in instead of,
And another thing too about the beauty process, beautifying process that I learned when it comes to doing makeup is that it never really looks halfway through like you'll be like, what the heck is going on? Like this don't look right, And we do that all the time with God. We always try to take control at some point because it don't look right.
True. Or how you imagine, but you can't even imagine yourself to be what the Creator created you, because you weren't there when He created you. Like you weren't in His process of doing it. He already knew the two people that He was going to put together on this earth to have sex, to have you form. You didn't even know that. I didn't get to pick my parent. So it's interesting how we think our beauty should be when we didn't actually create that beauty. And there's beauty in just letting go. I learned that later in life than earlier, but it feels like I'm a little kid inside.
Isn't that what God wants from us?
Mm-hmm. I feel Him restoring, like when you were uninhibited and didn't think twice or second guess yourself. You just walked into the room. That He is definitely restored.
So here I am just really adding the last few steps of touching up her eyebrows. I go back over some more later on, but we're just kind of chit-chatting about how it's going, making sure she's comfortable and perfecting these brows again, as I said, so that we can move on with the process because it was getting kind of lengthy.
It's like you have concealer under your eyes. Look at yourself.
Oh my God.
And like the funny part is like imagine
this is funny.
Yeah, but think about life and how God is like covering us, but we're so afraid of being seen. But for me, He'll send me out to do something, and I know inside of myself what I'm struggling with, my thoughts, the things that I don't like. But God is covering me while I'm out doing His work. Sometimes I feel silly. Sometimes I feel silly being out doing what He sent me to do, knowing what's going on inside of me. He's covering me, but this is what I look like when I'm thinking about myself.
Okay, this is deep. Because I look
like God is not waiting for you to be perfect to do what He like your full face being done. You prefer to wait and be seen
the finished product
until you finish, but God's not waiting for you to be perfect. He's just waiting for you to be obedient. He's
yield, right?
He's taking care of it all.
Yeah, I got you. Which is, how He ushered His relationship in with His Son. He didn't wait, okay, get perfect, and then I'll send my Son. You can't. I'm going to send my Son while you're sinning. And I can receive that.
I have a question for you, though.
Did you think of all these questions before you came, or they're just popping up?
They're popping up as we talk.
This is good. I like it. I do like this. Seriously, Dia.
Okay.
It's so therapeutic, and I think it's at a time in my life I really need. Because I think you hear your own sanity, or you hear God in you when you speak it. But if you're walking around with just your thoughts, or you're not interested. So this has been good. So go ahead. What's your question?
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. My question is, how has the process for you in your life been when it comes to like taking captive your thoughts and reframing your mind?
Not good. I would say, because I did so much of my life from a child after I was adopted, and like showing this to the world and inside not showing who I am. I trained myself into a lifestyle that went way beyond even after I became an adult and was away from my family. I was saying, I think I remember sharing with you that I'm swimming through humility scriptures the second time around. So this one was in Matthew when it says, put on my yoke and learn from me, yes, because I am gentle and my heart is lowly, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. So the first part was put on my yoke, and then when I learned what a yoke was, like when you put it on an animal, was to help them, You have it, you put them on the animal because you want to get this animal from this place to another place, and that yoke will help you guide that person to get to your destination. So when God is asking me to put on his yoke, put my word in your heart. You can't just read it. You gotta let it slide from your mind, your eyes, your ears, into your heart. And then he says, and learn from me. So when I yield to that word, I can learn. But in between those two, the and, because I spent so much time of my life living two lives and not actually exposing my hurt to people. Because when I have tried, I got rejected. It wasn't like I never did, but when I did, and so it just made me go in further. When I wanted to express my truth, other people weren't ready for that. And so I just was a big people pleaser, so I just did, and I kept my mouth shut.
All right, Buttes. I hope you enjoyed part 1 of Beauty Transformations with Michelle Strong. Look out for the next episode coming soon.